Mark Szymanski, welcome back to the WP Minute.
Matt Madeira, it's always a pleasure. Feel like we do this a lot. It's very helpful. I'm happy to be here.
It's not quite an emergency pod. I don't think the last one was an emergency pod, but you and I have been chatting about, would you call it like a revamp of the business? What do you call it? Is it a new chapter? Like, how do you see this? Just forever working on the business?
I think, there's a lot of it. I'm in a new space, so I'm kind of like re-energized and working on this heavily. Thank you. Still a work in progress, but it's way better than having a bed in the background, so that's definitely an improvement. So trying to take it a little more seriously. I was taking it seriously for the last 5 years of me doing stuff, but I was also kind of a little less focused. We've talked about this before, focused on like revenue generation, we'll call it. More focused on like learning, which I never want to stop learning. But right now, the revamp part of it is specifically that like I have the agency stuff, I have the content stuff, and both there's a lot of opportunity. We talked last time about overwhelm. We've talked offline since then, and there's definitely a level of overwhelm that doesn't correlate directly with like revenue. I would think that if you're really overwhelmed, you'd be making a lot of money. That's not typically the case. It's not exactly the case. So just kind of working on that.
The last episode that we did of whatever this series is called, I was pressing you on something about that overwhelm, right? Like I was saying, hey, look, don't start to outsource problems yet if you haven't fully live through those problems. Like, I know I would love to outsource that video editor, but do you have enough business and enough of that work to even like do it, right? And that's kind of like what we were chatting about. And I guess that falls into like that overwhelm, right? For you, what else goes into that overwhelm as a business owner for you right now? It's like a bunch of things you got to do, but unpack like what adds up to overwhelm.
So I would say that maybe other people out there also deal with this because like we're all agency owners. There's a lot of people that are like freelancers and just they're the solopreneur. Maybe they have some a bit of outsourced work that they're doing. But for me, it really comes down to, again, it's like the feast or famine type thing a lot. So I'll have current clients or new clients come to me and be like, hey, I want a website or here, make a video for us or something on the other end of the business stuff that I do. And there's a lot of that opportunity, but it's like right now the thing that I have to navigate is actually sifting through that, vetting which options are like good, which options are worth it, and then also like just doing the work. And again, because I'm by myself, there is a level of overwhelm to the idea of prospecting, marketing / prospecting, actually doing the sales part, and then actually fulfilling. So the methodology and the process that I have in my head is just like, all right, well, which one of those things can I most easily start to delegate out a little bit? And video editing is probably like one of the top ones that I could think of, but that was just the example last time.
We've been having this discussion again, like off camera, and we're talking about your agency stuff a little bit. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. I don't think you mind me talking about this, but you were like, hey man, you're like, hey man, I'm not just about building websites anymore. Like I don't want to do that. And you recently shared something with me about, a client, you were having trouble with a client or something like that. Cause they were like, oh, I forget what it was. So you frame it, you were having trouble with a client and they said, I wanted to do more Facebook ads with you, or they didn't know you did it. What was that issue you had with the client?
Well, I mean, I think there's a couple different cases. I'm not sure which one but I'll tell you a quick story. I just posted a video that came specifically got a lot of good feedback on that from people that I think understand exactly the situation. And it was just like the high level there is like basically lost a management client, the typical website care plan situation, because they didn't know, I didn't do a good enough job explaining to them that Find a Tech, my agency, is capable of doing more than just management and just building websites. So when I think about it, there's there's like at least a couple of different buckets. Building stuff, like building website stuff, adding to websites, whatever. We'll just call that development for lack of a better term. Then there's management, which is the hosting, care plan, everything that we bundle in there. And then there's everything else, which is like, SEO, pay-per-click, any sort of digital marketing, ROI positive generating service. And what I've found, and I'm not the first one to find this, but like at some point, somebody is going to come in, some other agency that does SEO or pay-per-click or something is going to come in. And if you're only operating off the assumption that you're just going to collect the management fees every month and then not get anything else from it, like just not care, not follow up, not do enough outreach, and not do enough really selling moving forward, then eventually you're going to lose that, because they're going to come in, they're going to give the they're going to sell the client on SEO stuff, and then eventually they're going to need access to the website unless they do it somewhere else on some other platform or whatever, and they're going to steal not steal, but you're going to lose it. So I was just kind of recounting that. And then the other example was that the other thing that I've experienced directly is that I start doing website stuff for people, and then their businesses are like good, like they generate revenue, but they're operationally, they have problems. Right. And I have a skill set to operationally improve. And now it's like, okay, well, do I want to dive into that realm? I'm actually more than happy to dive in that realm. I actually think that's probably better suited for me personally. But then again, if you're building a business, like, is that really the question that you should be asking yourself? It's not really what you like to do. It's what you think you could build a business around. It doesn't really actually matter what you're good at. But that's, tangential, slight tangent on this. But in that example, yeah, it's like good business, like gets revenue, built website, managed it, started doing some advertising so they got more leads. And now that particular instance is in a situation where operationally, organizationally, process-wise, they're not really able to fulfill some of that stuff. Like, it's taking them longer to do, processes and things like that. Now, I realize that's a different type of business. But there may be some credence to the idea that is actually better where I'm suited, because I'm absolutely not a creative designer type thing. I'm actually much more ones and zeros, I feel like. And that stuff is more like process oriented, and probably something better where I'm better suited. So yeah, a lot there.
And you said something like when we were doing the voice messages, you said like, hey, I don't want to do the one-off website anymore. Websites are done, in paraphrasing, but in your opinion, websites are done. You don't want to present yourself as the web guy to your client anymore. And what you're saying here now is like, you prefer the full service, like I'm Mark Szymanski, full service website, SEO, content, ads, like that's an area where you think you want to live.
Well, I don't know about content. You threw content in there when we were talking as well. I'm not going to like create content for people. If I'm going to create the content, it's going to be like heavily AI assisted. Like sure. I don't know. I have probably like a differing belief, and I'm starting to get like pretty jaded on the idea of like the creativity and the copy and like all that sort of stuff. It's like AI can do this shit. Like if you there's a lot of businesses out there that I feel like are just like, especially the blue collar ones, that are just like, they are just providing a technical service and they are actually lost on the business side of things. And for some reason, my best thing that I'm good at, I think, is the process part of it. Like, I'm getting better at marketing. I'm getting way better at sales in that. But I'm specifically like, if you tell me what the goal is, like I will create like a process and like a flow, automation, that type of thing that will actually help. Because I do it to my stuff. I've done it ad nauseum, and I've done it in the wrong order, so to speak. Just to go back specifically to the full service thing, I'm not sure if you can build something like that by yourself, because that is a lot of different disciplines. But that would be even more of a reason that I would need help for that type of thing. So
I'm wondering, like right now, I need some work done to my house, stuff that needs to get done in the attic, some new decking stuff, whatever. And I am just going through the same pain from the last time when I needed plumbing stuff and electrical stuff. It is going through the list and calling contractors, not getting a call back, like, or they'll come out, they'll spend the time, they'll look at it. Oh yeah, I'll get you a price, and then nothing. And I go back into this hamster wheel of, dealing with that small business owner, blue collar worker who just finds himself or herself just far too busy, like doing the work. And some of these guys will tell me, like, hey, yeah, I mean, I've been doing a bunch of roofs. I'm not gonna be able to do this. I need some like venting put in. I'm not gonna be able to do this for like a month or something like that. So, if you're good to waiting till like whatever, July, then, I can do the work. And it's just like, and then those same people won't call you back. And it's just, they're so busy. Speaking of overwhelmed, like they're so overwhelmed. I'm curious if, like, if you said, hey, Matt, like, I think the AI stuff is going to beat the website, the content, maybe even the SEO stuff. Like, this stuff is all going away. Like, it's all changing, which I wouldn't disagree. But I'm also wondering, like, will you be able to have, will Mark Zemansky be able to come in and say, hey, super busy, overwhelmed, blue-collar worker, let me build a process for you. I think you're going to just run into the same challenges with that product or service with that person, right? Because they're already feeling it.
So there's got to be a principle or a law or something that I don't know of that's like you could just continuously ask these questions until you are at the end game of the world, just fully dystopian, and then it's over. Like, there's got to be some, I don't know what it is, but there's got to be, like, because this is literally the conversation I have with myself in terms. Okay, all right, so websites are kind of like at some point going to be like, over the last like 15 years or whatever, 20 years, it's gotten progressively easier and easier to build that. I'm not saying like the skill level you have to actually do it right has necessarily changed, but it's gotten easier. Okay, so there's that. Now it's getting way easier to build like even apps and shit. Again, not saying that anybody could build an award-winning app and all that, but that's another thing to consider. And it's just like you just keep going down that thing. So like that argument that you just made there is kind of like, well, we have to stop somewhere. We have to do something. I'm not sure what that thing is. I don't know if that's just selling info. I feel like I'm not really able to necessarily fully do that yet. But my point is like I don't really know if I'm sure you're going to run into problems. You're going to run into problems regardless of what business you decide to do. I'm not trying to eliminate problems. I'm just trying to think of it like right now where, it's funny. I was talking to my dad yesterday, kind of like explaining this. He's like outside. He watches my stuff, but he's outside of the sphere totally. And, he was asking me like some really interesting questions. And I was kind of like explaining what I've personally got myself into here. And if you let me deviate for a second, I think it's pertinent, is that WordPress specifically, right, the ecosystem that we talk about a lot here, has been around for 20-some years, right? What was the birthday? Was it 25?
22.
Just 22.
22.
So 22 years. Now, guys like yourself, guys like, guys and girls and whoever like that I've met throughout these last couple years, you guys have been around mostly since like at least not maybe its inception, maybe, but like the very early years. And again, we talked about building it while the camp, innovating and building and communitizing everything as it was coming up. Still possible, but it is absolutely a mature thing now. And there's just like so much other stuff that is coming up. Again, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but like there is just like ample amounts of like interesting things going on. I'm not saying like to fully jump ship, but like to like you're doing, like keep an eye on that stuff. And also be like have a level of paranoia that is safe. I'm not saying anything's going away, but I'm saying that you can't just have rose-colored glasses and think that everything is perfect. Not saying you are. I'm just saying in general. And that's kind of where I'm at. Like if we're being specific, or if we're being like honest with ourselves, I am in a much different position than a lot of the people that I talk to in the WordPress space. Some of you guys are 10, 15, 20 years older than me. I am starting a family. You guys already have families. You're in that. We're all going through similar things, but like just the timing, the opportunity, the level at which the level of fatigue is different. The level of energy is different. the level of prioritization in like one's, and I know I'm getting a little philosophical here and slightly off topic, but I'm just saying that all of these things like play into what I think about on a daily basis of the services that I'm offering, because, and I think it would actually help if I stepped away from the technical role a little bit more and just been like, hey, we're going to do this for you, whatever, so-and-so, my technician here is going to take care of that for you, and just go like that. I think that's probably, with all of like the soul searching kind of I've done, I think that's probably the better thing for me to do, or for at least to try, because I just get so kind of like wrapped up in it. But if I was removed a little bit more from it, I could probably see it a lot clearer.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe what you're saying there is, well, I'll just ask the direct question. So what you're saying there is, you see AI coming, you see AI eating WordPress's lunch, and you want to be in the driver's seat of like whatever that new wave of technology is. Fair assessment of that, or
wouldn't say eating its lunch. I would just say that there's more. I was going to say exciting, but that's too superficial.
But are you saying? But are you strictly saying there's an alternative to WordPress coming, or alternative to websites coming, that you think like, oh, no one's ever going to need what we think of as websites today?
I think the level of importance. Oh, I mean, I don't think anybody could disagree with this first statement. It's going to change. Sure. I don't think anybody could disagree with that.
Right.
Nobody has a crystal ball. However, let's use a quick specific example. SEO. How much has that changed in the last 10 years now? Like, you used to be able to literally just write articles with titles, and then in a day you search them on Google and they pop up. Like, it's that simple. Google has AI mode now. Everyone has ChatGPT. Like, there's a level of that still where it's like gathering some sources, but it's just stealing all the shit that Google stole from everyone else.
Yes.
So like, my point is there that it is changing. It's changing extremely rapidly. And I mean, quite frankly, I just don't want to be like left behind, so to speak. But also, I think, what's a good way to say this? I don't think AI is going to eat WordPress's lunch. I think AI is just going to eat everyone's lunch. Like, and WordPress is just going to be kind of caught in the crossfire. I do think that WordPress is probably one of the best places to be kind of still situated, because one, obviously the community's strong, people love the project and all that sort of stuff. But like, it is still like open source, and there's so many like good pieces about it. Rest assured, I am not saying that I'm going to start making like random, like I don't have a reason to go to Webflow. I don't have a reason to go to any of these other things. That's not necessarily what I'm saying. It's like, why, like, is there a way to just utilize these newer technologies to do things faster for clients, but also still at a level of quality that you're not, like, you don't hate yourself or they don't give you shit for, is kind of like one way to think about it. And I've been thinking about this for a while. It's like, again, you go back 20 years, you go back 10 years, whatever. Websites are a great example. At first, it was really difficult to build websites. Like, you had to like take a lot of time, potentially invest a lot of money or knowledge or whatever, and it was like difficult to do. Then it was like, okay, let's go to WordPress, where now you can do more stuff, way faster, way easier, and maybe you can't do as much as you could coding, but you could do a lot more, and you could do a lot more faster, but maybe you do a little less because you're not a coder or something like that. Then you go into the page building era. It's like, okay, well, now we can do even more. We could do it pretty fast. And now we're at the point where, like, you can almost do everything visually. So I'm just saying, like, even in that progression, you can see it there. I don't think software devs and everything like that are going away or whatever. You still need that. But I just think that quite frankly, I'm just trying to convince myself to actually give more of a fuck about AI and all these things, because for some reason, like, if I see an AI video, AI automation video, like, pop up on YouTube, I will not, like, I'm inherently interested, but I don't want to sit there necessarily and watch every single one of them, which is, I'm trying to understand why that's the case as well, because I know there's so much opportunity there.
These sound like two different issues, but I did just publish my vibe coding WordPress plugin masterclass, which I invite
see
you
that
to
yet.
literally
watch
right
that.
before we went out. So 30 minutes, and you'll be on to building yourself a WordPress
All
plugin
right.
in a nice,
Noted.
sane fashion. I want to talk. I want to tackle the overwhelm and efficiencies part, because I really want to like unearth that is in the context of your business. So back to that overwhelm. I still don't have a clear grasp of like, other than like you want to do all these things for the customer. And there's the overwhelm of like, I got to find the customers, I got to pitch the customers, I got to do the work, I got to rinse and repeat that to make this thing work. Like, what else adds to the overwhelm? Or is that it?
I mean, I would say that's mostly it. I don't also categorize myself as like somebody that gets overwhelmed per se. It's just more like maybe it's my definition of overwhelm. I think of overwhelm starting to border on like anxiety and like almost fear. I'm not scared of any of the shit. I don't like, I talk on the internet constantly. You know, I'm not afraid of like put myself out there. I'm not afraid of like getting on sales calls. I'm not afraid of doing stuff or making mistakes on like websites or whatever. It's just like when it's all me and I'm doing all of it, like I'll take that and I'll take that responsibility. But then when that results in like ultimately not where I want to be, you know, just again purely like almost like financially revenue wise, it's like now I'm thinking, well, okay, well this is a good example, okay? Because this isn't the first time this has like happened. I mean, it's happened, you know, multiple times. It's like, okay, so when you have these opportunities and you're trying to fulfill and you're trying to do all this stuff yourself, where I end up is like, okay, well, this is actually kind of potentially a simple problem to solve. I'm getting all this opportunity. Let me just raise my prices, and then I'll make more money. It'll still be just me, and I will be doing just as much work, but I'll be making more money. Or the whole thing where you double your prices and you have half as much work because half of the people leave, but you're making the same amount of money, which is, you know, whatever. Like, you know, that type of thing. And it's like, okay, well, I could do that. But then, you know, I've definitely tried to continuously do that. And it's just like, well, you kind of also run up against a little bit of a ceiling, though, because there's definitely been times where I've pitched prices to people. Websites are just such a funny thing, too. It's like, you know, I want a website. I want all this shit. And then it's like, okay, well, here's the price. Like, no, I'm nowhere near what I thought. I wanted $500. So that's just the root of that, though. I know I'm talking about a lot of different things here. The root of that, the root of the web thing, okay? The root of the web thing, and I don't know how other people have gotten past this for so long. Maybe they haven't. When you sell a website to somebody, there is no tangible ROI for the business owner that they can like fully feel. They will feel it initially because their confidence in the business and their pride will go up because they have like you know, something that looks good and functions. They will think that like, oh, maybe I was just like getting DMs before or something like that, and now I have like a contact form. Okay, but like unless you're going above and beyond, you're doing, or not even above and beyond, but unless you're doing something more complex and you're doing like some sort of like, you know, lead magnet stuff, like calculators, like all sorts of like extra content and things like that that they can work in, which they're probably going to want you to do because they're working on their business. Unless you're doing that sort of stuff, in my experience, it's not an ROI positive thing. People buy websites because they feel like they need one, or they feel like it's cool, or they want to look professional. All important. Again, I've never said that's a wrong thing. However, that feeling wears off. They keep paying you for website management shit, which is again necessary, but not. It's an expense. It's not really like an investment. And then the time comes where like, oh, we need more leads. Our website isn't doing shit because we just built it and thought people would come. And then at that point, that's where all the headaches pretty much stem from. And that's kind of like the whole root of what I'm talking about here. And I'm just in public trying to navigate where is best to go. I don't even mean in general. I really mean for me, because again, I'm just kind of like learning, trying, sharing the shit that I do. So like I have to think about what I'm good at. I have to think about what I could possibly navigate or build a team around or what have you. And also what makes the most business sense. So that's really the root of it there. And that's why I'm driven towards more things that it would be like actually ROI, like save your clients money or make your clients money.
Yeah, I think you have to zoom out and also understand, like, do I want to live in this world of all small business owners like this that have these problems and these expectations, right? I think you were in the room when I joked about that with Jake Goldman at PressConf. When I joked with him, when I didn't joke with him, I was asking him like a legit question that a time at a WordCamp many years ago when I was still running an agency, and I was just like, hey, how's, you know, when he started out, he did like some smaller like local projects, and he was just like, yeah, I don't really understand the small business owner, and he kind of just like, yeah, I've moved on from that because yes, I think what you also have to realize is this is a problematic space. And I think, I think it's a problematic space. It's low hanging fruit, and it's one of those things that they'll always have those problems. Do I think you can serve them and still be profitable? Absolutely. And I'm going to recommend like some of my ideas in a minute. But I would also just like, you would ask yourself, like, do I want to do this? And do I want to like work with these people? If yes, continue. If no, like let's find another audience. I am less. I agree with you that that you need a solution for that customer that turns to you and says, "Hey, we've had the website for a year. Now we need leads. We didn't know you did leads, so we found this other company to do leads. But that company says we needed a whole new website. And we're canceling with you and we're moving on with them because we need leads. And I'm sorry, this is, you know, what has happened. Do I think you need to solve for things like that? Yes, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the service either, right? And again, these are all just like thoughts and ideas, thoughts and prayers to those of us like still in the agency space. But I'm of a mindset like if I ever got back into services, this is how I would approach it loosely. The extra caveat to that is, of course, AI is changing these things. My crystal ball at maximum goes out 5 years for like what's happening right now. I also think like there's this full circle moment where, and we said this in the last video, so I won't beat it up too much. Whereas like a lot of things just like come full circle. It's like, oh, websites. AI's here. We don't need websites anymore. And then we go back to doing websites again, right? It's just like you find some markets where direct mail still works, where billboards still work, where radio ads still work. And you're just like, wait, I thought that wasn't a thing. Yeah, it just consolidated and maybe those approaches are a lot smaller, but they're still like effective. And there's something that is like a little bit more hopeful in my heart of hearts that a website in the future can actually contain content and information and media that AI isn't giving to you, right? It is like when we joke about brochure sites, like I think brochure sites might be a thing again where these bigger, especially bigger companies are like, screw giving out our content and our how-tos and our tutorials and our white papers to AI. AI is now learning off the back of all of our content, and now it's just doing it, solving the customer's problem without them contacting us. So we could see a resurgence in like a true website being the experience that we've always kind of like dolled it up to be. So there's that. So what I would say is like it's the packaging and presentation to the customer first. Ever since I started my agency, the one thing that I always told people is like, maybe you're doing this, it's just framed differently, but it's just like, I'm not just building you a website, I'm building you a platform, and the website is there to do work for you. So in the case of, customer who comes and buys a site from you and they're just like, hey, it's not doing anything. I felt good. I got my logo up on a website. I can put it on a business card and people can look at it now, but it's not doing anything for me. I would say that maybe it's just your pitch and packaging and presentation out of the gate to be like, this isn't a website. This is a platform. And at minimum, when I build this website for you, I am also going to hook you up with insert your favorite CRM, right? So
Yeah.
you install Gravity Forms and you set that expectation to be like, your contact form is here, and I'm hooking it into free HubSpot account, and like this works for you. I mean, all of these guys that I've been talking to, it's just like, show me examples. Like, have you done this work before? The same thing a customer might say to you is like, have you done this before? And at minimum, having freaking pictures and video on the site of the contractor to show me you've done this work before and you've proven that you're at least informing and educating me and sort of like giving me some assurance that I know what you're doing. And of course, the argument will always be from here on out, like, well, AI is just going to solve that for people. Okay, maybe, but I think like in a sales transaction, at least for the next 5 years, people are still going to want to talk to a human. And sort of like the last thing that I would say is, because here's where I think we're all going is, we'll have this lag of adoption for AI. One, because of like the technical is still being built out. Like, what the hell is this stuff? How does it all work? Like Claude, ChatGPT, they're still all figuring it out. That's why there's so much hype around it. They're still figuring it out. And then there'll be like the adoption across the board of how this is all solved, still years out, right? For this to be like the end all be all solution. And then third is just trust. Like, how much will people trust this? There are still people who don't trust their freaking, like, doing the banking, doing all this other stuff. And from all ages, not just older people, but from all ages, you always have like that percentage. And the point I'm getting at is I think there will be a lot of services that still want the human touch. Will website businesses be as big? Will we have as many freelancers talking about it? Probably not. That'll go down. But I think there'll still be those solutionists that exist. And in a business like yours, and I've mentioned this to you before, is I would be selling at, I'll say this, I'd be selling at a lower price point for the website and turning your service into that monthly membership feel, so that I'll use that term loosely, that monthly membership feel where you're buying into Mark's business with these other business owners, and we're all like doing this thing together. It sounds a little kumbaya when I phrase it that way, but the point is like, you want to build a solution where that customer never feels like they aren't being served, or that they don't know something that you do, and they go and they find something else. And it's about finding the balance for you of profitability, to where you can serve that kind of customer. And a lot of it is not technical at all, right? Throw out SEO, content, site evaluations, whatever. It's about having that like monthly connection of checking in with that customer and seeing what the hell they're doing and just keeping a pulse on it. Because I think hosting is going to go that way too. Because I think of inevitably people will be able to build these websites so fast. Now the next question is, where the hell is this hosted? And if you're an agency owner doing that, and you're just like getting shitty service from your web hosting provider, web hosts are now going to be in the crosshairs. Because if I'm an agency and I'm building out these sites left and right, and they're not giving me service that I need, like more referrals, more partnership opportunities, I'm going to switch to a web host that does it. And I think web hosts have been the king of sit back and just make tons of cash hosting accounts. And they're going to have to be a lot. Anyone in the services business is going to have to push to be more human, in my opinion, and have more of a human connection.
I don't know how to phrase this, but so I listened to that, and you've said similar things before, and all I can say is that just sounds like, it sounds nice when you say it like that.
Sure.
But it sounds just so unrealistic in some ways. Like, it sounds like
you can't build a big business around it.
Well, Well, I was I will come back to that, but I was talking about like the worldview that you have on that sounds like, I don't know a better way to say it other than just like somebody that's like, I don't want to say old, but like it just sounds like you've seen stuff, and then you're projecting how this is going to go based off of that other stuff, and like you've mentioned, and this isn't again just about you, but this is like you've said this, but like you to me the other day or whatever, but like you equated this somehow to NFTs, like in a small way.
Right.
There's, to me, a 0% chance this is NFTs. Like NFTs actually are like the stuff behind NFTs is usable. The level to which, like, if you were to plot on a chart like the generalized AI shit that we're seeing to like non-fungible tokens, the usability for non-fungible tokens is like 1 iota of like how much usage you can get out of all this stuff. Like, I mean, in every aspect of every piece of life, the problem right now that we have is that grandmas don't understand. I'm not saying they would adopt it, but I'm saying like grandmas don't understand that they could just like open ChatGPT, click a button, and literally have a conversation about whatever they want, and it sounds like a real person. Like it's this is a knowledge problem where we're at right here. The NFT bullshit was like partially a knowledge problem, mostly a timing problem, mostly like even more than we're going to see with AI, because there's so much good with the AI. There's so much bad. Like there was so much like the ratio was off over there with that whole thing, with like the amount of bullshit parts that were associated with that. So I say all that to say that like if this goes away, I know nothing about anything, because this doesn't make any sense how this could possibly go away. And then to the adoption point specifically, there will always be people that don't adopt. Like it's like there's people living in caves probably somewhere or something. Like there's a small percentage of people that are like that don't want to have, you know, like electricity, right, or whatever, you know. So it's like, but thinking about that when you're building a business, I just don't understand. I'm not sure if you were exactly saying that, but like I wouldn't even put that into the equation. Like I'm trying to see where the puck is going, not like the people that are hanging around. I mean, obviously they still need service.
Fine,
okay, somebody can do that.
That's fine, but it's like, how far are you going to chase? Like, how far out are you trying to see that puck? Because what I'm saying is, yes, like in 10 years, this is drastically different. But if you're a business now and you're a freelancer or an agency, my maximum is 5 years. Okay, so when I talk about this and I give you this advice or we talk about it, I'm thinking, okay, maximum 5 years, because it's naive to think that you'll never be able to work on your business again. I think we both know that. So you're always going to be going back to see like what's working in my business. How do I have to adjust this? How do I find new clients? How do I reshape my offer? Freaking every business has to do that, and you will always have to do that. Now it's just going to be even compressed even more, right? Maybe every year you're having to have like these conversations. So what I'm saying is you have a buffer zone now to build the business in like this 5-year zone that I'm predicting, where, I mean, 5 years is a relatively long time for you to generate income and reinvest that into like what happens next. Because what I don't believe, and maybe this is the hard stop for me in terms of your argument, because my brother says the same thing. It's just like, oh yeah, so this shit's going to come over and take over the world, whatever. Like, if it's a zero-sum game, then in your perspective, if it's a zero-sum game where anybody can turn to ChatGPT and just get the answer for their business, then what's the point? Then what is your then what is your
dystopia?
Well, yeah, but so what? So you're saying like I'm saying no to that because I'm old, and I'm looking at you going, so then what the hell are you doing? And if you leave, then I'll just take your business. That's how I would approach that. Right? So like I don't understand. What I'm recommending is, here's my 5-year approach, if that. You're saying like, man, all this stuff is going away because everyone's going to have everything solved by a chatbot. Hosting, website business. And basically what I know about everyone doing the same thing is that when everything is the same, then eventually a human says, I want a different experience. And the different experience for the next 5 years, 5 to 10 years, it might be my new experience is chatting with this chatbot. And then in 10 years, somebody might be like, fuck this, I want humans again. Right? Just like when people are like, man, I love reading a book. Not you. But like, man, I love a physical book. Right? There's always like this return of something more tangible in the experience. That's what I see throughout all this stuff.
I don't see it. I don't see it.
That might be might be our fork in the road. Do I think AI is going to be dominant? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I still think that there's going to be... I have problems with the technology and the hype, which was my thing with the NFTs, is like everyone hyped the potential before the potential even hit the street. Perfect example was Gary Vee with like, oh yeah, you can go access my the events that he was doing. I don't even remember what they were called, like in-person events. And you got this NFT thing and it's a ticket and it follows you and you can sell it. And I was like, freaking awesome. But that was so early on that it didn't... Like, everyone's hyping that idea, and it never came to exist. No one adopted it. No one adopted all of this stuff like everyone thought they would. And that's my reservation here is everyone's thinking about that utopian future of, I just talked to ChatGPT and my website's hosted, and it's maintained, and it's telling me how to run a business, and it's helping me close those leads. But then so is the next asshole sitting next to you. And I'm trying to figure out what that means for the future. Because if everybody can do it, what are we doing?
Well, okay. I mean, I think there's a couple things. Everyone could do it. Like, I could 100% just
mother effer. You're calling me old. I have vibe coded more solutions than you have. Continue.
I know you have. That's why I'm talking to you, so you can get me to actually do some shit. Because I told you earlier, for some reason, like I know this is coming, but this is how it goes in my brain. Oh fuck, this is coming. I should really educate myself on this. And then I see it, and I'm like, I don't really like. For some reason, I'm just not like really into it enough. I'm into it in certain ways. Like I love talk. I chat with ChatGPT every day. Like on whatever I'm thinking, because I don't like Googling anymore because it's way easier to just like talk to a knowledge base rather than to Google something. So that is amazing. But then like thinking about some of these other things, I'm not like super down with it. And then I'm like, okay, well maybe I will do it. And then I just think, well, wait a second, like this, and then I get into like the dystopian loop of like what you just outlined there. Like, why are we even doing this? Because the thing you have to realize there is there's like maybe like it's probably under the number, but like less, I'm being generous and say 100 people on YouTube talking about this stuff at a level where it's like actually they're knowledgeable enough and they can teach it. You know what I mean? Like we're so early to that part that you could just talk about anything in that realm and there's enough people that are interested in it. Going back to the point about like, do you think anybody could do it? Anybody can definitely do it. This is different than the NFT bullshit, bro. Like the NFT bullshit was like you had to figure out how to make NFTs or generate them, all that sort of stuff. Then they only had like certain use cases, great use cases that should still be adopted. But not only do you have to have people that like build the thing, then you have to have people that can actually like use it. This AI shit, the generalized stuff is like it's standard human behavior to want to explore and know knowledge. And if you could do that instead of typing, like somebody that learned how to like type well, they don't have to type anymore. Okay, that's why I'm so big on like voice, because pretty much everyone knows how to talk. Then you just click a button on this app and you just ask it whatever the hell you want. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect, but again, the AI catchphrase, today is as bad as it's ever going to be. And it's fucking good right now. So it's like
I wouldn't emphasize it that much, but yes, it is. It's good.
It's definitely
good. no other words around it.
It is. 5 years ago, you would not have even been able to describe what we have right now. 5 years ago.
Right.
And it's only going faster now.
Okay. So there's still a like, I'm trying to look at this on paper. There is still a lag of adoption. So on paper, lag of adoption, again, I think I'm being on the short side. 5 years for this to really like seep into small businesses. Because
can you elaborate? What do you mean by that?
Yeah,
Give me an example.
So like right now, like you still have people knocking on your door going, hey, I need a website. I need content. I need SEO. I need pay-per-click, whatever. I need leads. I need to generate leads. Like that's still happening. And my God, like when the internet first came out, everyone's like, freaking web. Of course you need a website. Everybody needs a website. We learned that lesson during COVID. When all those people we were marketing to, all of us small solopreneurs building websites for people, told restaurants to have freaking good websites with gift cards that you could buy and a contact form for ordering, and all these websites, all these restaurants and other small businesses were just like, holy shit, people can't come to my store anymore. I need a website. And it's like, yo, I don't even remember what year that was, 2019, 2020, whenever COVID was. It was like, it's 2019. Why don't you have a website then or now? And now fast forward 2025, I think you're giving way, and not just you, there's other people too. And maybe I'm wrong, but giving way too much credit that everyone just instantly turns on AI and all of their problems are solved.
Let me try to, I hear what you're saying there. Here's what I'm saying though, is that
or you're waiting for a whole generation of businesses to die, literally die, right? Those people who will never turn it on. A contractor who's 45 plus years old right now will never touch AI until he's dead.
I'm lost
retired from the business.
I don't know if we're still talking about just businesses, but let's zoom out a second. The level of when we say AI, it's obviously incredibly overused now. It's a buzzword. But like when you say the words, the abbreviation AI, that is so generalized. And when I think about it at the high level, I mean, I'm not even talking about businesses anymore. I'm talking about just like people. When we talked about NFTs, that was like a subset of people that like understood the concept. When we talk about like websites, it's like, I've always been a proponent of everybody should have their own website because, again, like from the WordPress side of things, it's like, everybody should have a place where they can give I've always been a big proponent of that. Like, it's one of the reasons I like open source, all that sort of stuff, right? I always wanted that place. I think everyone should always have like a personal website. They have business. They rank up from there. They do that, whatever. The AI thing is like transcends all of that shit, though. There is no prerequisite to turning on ChatGPT and clicking the button and getting something out of it. There's none. There's none. If you've asked a question in your life, then it's valuable to you. So my point in that is not that you're gonna snap your fingers and everybody's gonna be like have like their new Google Glasses things and they're gonna have all this shit like in their eyes and doing all this stuff. That's not what I'm saying. Grandma's not gonna be doing that. She's gonna die before she ever tries that. Okay, but what I'm saying is this is a scenario where the amount of value the technology brings is so generalized and so potent that like it's going to be addicting as soon as somebody tries it. So if we have more people even trying it, and we're trying, and like honestly, if I educated more business owners even on it, they would feel it so much quicker than all this other shit that we've compared it with. That is my stance on that.
Is this adding to the overwhelm of your current context in business? Because that was
I'm sure it is
the through line that I was trying to hit on. And if this is it, like this is your thinking adding to the overwhelm, right? This is what's overwhelming you. This is part of what's overwhelming you besides having to do the work.
Probably. I'm like thinking like, why would we do XYZ when we could like do something that's like going to save you, potentially 5-10 years.
I understand that. But the old side of me is looking at it going, there are years until this shit happens. As fast as this stuff is becoming amazing for coders and designers, it has years to hit the small, let's call it the small business market. So what I'm urging is, what's your plan now? I agree it's going to really change. Like, everything is going to change.
I mean,
I can't say that line without also saying the only thing that can screw it up are the companies themselves. And I have actually more faith in those companies screwing it up than them actually delivering. That's me. But
all right.
It takes years. So in your example of like, it doesn't matter, websites don't matter, they just turn to ChatGPT. What happens if Mark starts a roofing company? How is you start a roofing company, ChatGPT immediately knows Mark's in Pittsburgh and he's got a roofing company available and here's his prices? How does it know it immediately? So you say, well, Matt, it's going to be tied into databases at the local government. As soon as the guy registers for his business, ChatGPT knows that he's got a business online. You know how freaking long that's going to take?
I hope that doesn't happen. That's not what I wasn't talking about that at all.
Well, I need to know like where you see the disrupt in our traditional approach today, aside from like AI can build the website and come up with the content for you. But like, how is it helping that small business owner immediately? How does it? How does it?
Are we
what's
talking
your
about
prediction?
marketing the small business? Or
Well,
what are we
I just
talking
don't.
about?
I don't see the same disruption level as fast as everyone is saying it's coming. To the point where I would be stuck like you, and not not wanting to move forward.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I probably have some issues there, but let's
We were supposed to be working that out.
Well, we're trying. I mean, it's a long process.
Matt and Mark fight. That's the name of the series.
That's ridiculous. This isn't a fight. This is this is some sort of other shit. Okay, there's a couple things there. Okay, the first thing is, let me go back for a second. The years thing. You were talking about like, if you were a business owner. I mean, obviously you're a business owner. I'm saying like, if you're a business owner though, if you're telling me that you feel more comfortable, like almost. Or maybe, I mean, I guess you just actually think that 5 years, like the number, like wouldn't, like I'm saying, like you're more, like you're not pulling that rein back a little bit more where you're like, I'd rather be cautiously pessimistic than optimistic with like the amount of time that this is going to get disrupted in. You'd rather be like, it sounds like you're not pessimistic on the timeline. Like, I literally think this shit could happen in, like, a year, 2 years.
No. Nope.
Okay, well, we're also not defining what that actually
right,
is.
I was about to say, yeah, like, what is that? Like, what is that? Like, you're out of a job, I'm out of a job?
We're not going to be out of a job. I'm saying that, like, the level of adoption and the magnitude of what is happening as people are adopting is going to go up, substantially quickly.
Like everyone's using AI in 1 year.
What does AI mean? What do we mean by using AI?
Then you would have to define, what AI is. Yeah, no, I
believe. Okay, I'm going to make a prediction, and it can be right or wrong.
And I'm talking specifically in our space, like us, our colleagues, and our clients and customers.
I mean, I get that, and I think that obviously it's important to what we're talking about here in the topic area. But what I'm saying
not talking
is
about,
like,
hey, Alexa, give me my recipe, and now Alexa's got this new AI
hang
thing
on
and it cooks it for me.
though. Like, how fast did that change?
What?
How fast did people like start using the G word, because I can't say it because shit on my house will trigger. Like, how fast has that changed? Do people have smart homes now? Do people have
I mean,
speakers?
how much was it actually? How many people actually use it? I have it. What do I do with it? I check the weather. Big freaking deal.
Well, again, the reason is that was like version 1 of what you could do with it. I actually just got the update. I'm on the learning thing, so the little G thing out there, little G home thing out there, it actually has Gemini in it now rather than just that shitty G assistant that I can't say. So, like, my point is that I don't know. I mean, I know what you're saying. I think you said this, where it's like at some point you think they might actually throttle down because they'll get bought up.
I don't want to get too far ahead on like the AI, like why I think AI is going to be slow. I want to know from you, from today for the next 5 years, how are you adjusting your business to your prediction of AI?
I would be,
because I want to figure out this overwhelm thing. Because if you're thinking, if the root of the issue is like, man, I don't even know where to begin with this stuff.
okay, there's two, okay, to answer that question specifically, there's two answers to it, like two ways you have to answer it, in my opinion. The first one is, how are you adjusting by the work you're doing?
Sure.
And how are you adjusting by the way you're selling, right? Like what you're selling, okay? If I don't, as a extremely capable, technical, forward thinker, if I do not adopt AI as much as possible, which I have, but I haven't done it to my standard, to like the standard that I believe. If I don't adopt it, I'm completely an idiot. I'm trying to, like, I am subconsciously ruining my chances at getting as far ahead as possible. Now, I would asterisk that by saying, like, I would also extend that to every other business owner, which is where I get this thought process from. But not every business owner is me. Not everyone is as early as an adopter as me. Not everybody can see, like, kind of what's going on, or see at least, like, the value, regardless of where it's headed, see the value. So, okay, whatever. But that's how I'm operating internally. Maybe I'm projecting that to other business owners, which not every business owner is created equal. So maybe I'm projecting that onto other business owners. So that might be a problem. Okay, but then as far as what I'm selling, it kind of is like a 1-2 punch, because you have to think of, like, the philosophy. It's like, if we're using AI in our business, in our agency business, and it's helping us tremendously, then maybe it would help these other business owners that we're selling shit to. And it's like, okay, maybe that's not a 1-to-1, but maybe there's, like, at least a level of that in there. And it's like, if you're not utilizing the stuff, like, if I built a website with AI and it was, you know, that's hugely simplification, but if I built a website with AI and then I went over to, you know, Claude and hooked up N8N, and I made a, you know, using AI, made like an automation that helps my business, my payroll, my whatever, why wouldn't I do that for other businesses? Like, I just, that's kind of what I'm thinking there with that side of things. I mean, I was talking specifically operational side there, but
yeah, but that sounds like you're coming up. That's, to me, I'm hearing like you're just like thinking of a whole other like product and service to offer people. I'm Mark, and let me help you with all things AI. Find AI tech.
I mean, I am trying to change the name, but it was never about IT, actually. But that's a story for a different day.
That's what that sounds like to me. That doesn't. I haven't really heard like you say like I'm totally stuck in this thing that I can't figure out.
I think my main issue, again, and this goes back to me not not getting enough away from the actual things that I'm selling, I guess, which is silly, is like, I just don't believe in it. Like, I just don't believe that I'm going to be sitting here in 5 years and like telling people that like websites are the absolute end all be all. I think there's going to be there's still going to be value to it, but it's going to change so substantially, and it's already changing, and I'm just tapped into it, and I see it, and I just like have a lot of like reservations. It's like, I really don't want to sell people on that.
And this is why I'm saying it changes. What you must do, in my opinion, is to change the presentation and the packaging of it. And yeah, okay, you might not be able to sell, you certainly won't be able to sell a $1,500 website as you are today in 5 years. That is I don't even want to say that's a guarantee, but
I think there's a 0% chance.
I don't. I just, and what I'm betting on that is not AI. It's not like the advancements of AI. It's the adoption of the person who needs it, right? So what I'm saying is change the pitch and presentation. So maybe starting today, okay, if you want to talk about drastics, it's coming in and saying, I will give you a free website. And here's a free website. And on the back end of that is my monthly service to do all things coaching your business, integrating AI, and that has a price to it.
How did we get to the point of just like offering free websites? I'm actually not
Because
opposed to the concept.
I'm getting to that because you're saying there's no value in websites. Therefore,
I didn't say there's no value. I said the value is like the what's the word? The perceived value for most people is going to at least somewhat go down. Like they have, again, because it's already low because it's finite, it's going to go down even more. Like, again, let's go back to that client example that I was talking about. They didn't even care about the website. I was telling them they need to rebuild one for like $20,000 because it's that substantial, and we've done like all this sort of stuff. And they were like, we actually, the other place told us we didn't need that. The place doing our marketing told us we didn't need that. And we want to triple down on like Google and like optimization and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, my mind is a little boggled because none of that. I see where you're coming from, but the calculus doesn't fully make sense. Also, the website was objectively not good because I built it, like in an earlier version of Elementor years ago and all this sort of shit. Okay, so, but my point is, like, we needed to upgrade. I mean, websites need upgraded, like, unless you're dealing with that sort of stuff. Don't want to get too off topic, but my point there is, like, the perceived value of some clients with that. We're doing a lot of generalization here, so it's a hard conversation to have. But the perceived value from some clients is just, it is really cool for a little bit, but it has never been.
And
maybe it was one time.
That's how I got to the zero. That's how I got to the free website.
I wouldn't go free. I absolutely wouldn't go free.
So you go $5, right? Like the point is
I would sell that differently, but we could workshop that. Yeah. I get what you're saying. It's a model. Like you make the actual main thing less, and preferably, this is where you could absolutely get fucked though. Is you can't. The thing is, you can't sell a free website doing the same amount of work that you did for the $5,000, $10,000 website.
Because the argument that I hear from you and that I hear from others is that there is zero value in a website. We won't need websites anymore. We're going to do all these other things. I don't think I
exactly said that. It's a little more nuanced than that.
So then, but okay, so if you say, you just said 0% chance that I could sell a $1,500 website in 5 years. You just said that. You said 0% chance I'd be able to sell a website for $1,500 in 5 years. Rewind the tape, producer.
I did say that, but didn't you say a specific type of $1,500 website?
No, if a website that you would sell today for $1,500.
Some level of a website is going to be worth $1,500 in 5 years, 100%.
Okay,
some level, but it's not going to be a $1,500 website today.
Well, but my point is like you have to. The YouTube comments are going to be ridiculous on this video.
I'm super excited. I want to hear people's opinions, as I'm trying to figure it out.
So, like, if you can't solve, like, if you look at this and you say every year we're stepping down in value of a website and potential revenue, so why even bother? Then don't solve for that. Then don't solve for it. Lead with you have to be different.
That's pragmatic.
You have to have a different value if you're going to survive. And if you're sitting down going, I don't know what to do with my business, and you're saying, God, in 5 years, this is like, the $1,500 site I sell now is worthless, then just lead with worthless now and just do free website. And the idea is what is the most important thing that you need to do right now is capture that customer.
Mm-hmm.
So, like,
I don't hate that.
If you're totally boxing out websites and their perceived value, then just say, hey, Mark Szymanski, when you come to me, here's what we do. I'm a business consultant now. We leverage AI. I'm going to help you with AI. I'm going to help you with your XYZ services, and everything comes and my services come with this website.
Let me just rephrase this, because like I think you are hitting on exactly where I'm like ending up, but it's not. The website for me, and I think for a lot of people, went from like the thing we are, like we are a web design agency. We build websites. I want to ask you a very specific question in a second. It's regarding price, but the website went from we build websites, like the meta went from we build websites to now the website is the loss leader, more or less, and the other things that we can do are the things that really put you over the top. That's effectively what you're saying, and I don't hate that approach whatsoever, and I think that I will end up starting to do more of that because that's actually what would move the needle for a lot of businesses. I feel like that need my help and that see me and they see like the amount of visibility that I can get and this type of thing and all that sort of stuff and the marketing and all that sort of shit. Let me ask you a very specific question because I want to try to prove a point.
Side note, I would not be saying like, I'm going to build you this super elaborate website for free.
Zero chance.
Okay.
Zero chance. That doesn't make any sense. It's like a standard, simple website that's good and clean or whatever. But like that's the in, and then you go from there. I like that approach. You've never
and contrary to popular belief, check with your lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, but it doesn't have to be that you hand this over to the customer. This isn't, hey customer, send me your hosting account. I'll put this WordPress website on it, and if I would get hit by a bus, you have a website.
People are already doing that. They'll say like it's $12,000 or they'll say it's $500 a month for 12 months or whatever it is. And then that'll be like, that's your payoff period.
Right. So, and I don't want to hear any hate in the comments about that because that's exactly what you do when you're paying for Gmail or HubSpot. If I stop paying for HubSpot, I don't get my CRM anymore. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to go back to the price thing for a second though. Okay. So I don't know because I wasn't here. When was the first year that you sold a website?
Well, under the official studio brand, it would have been end of 2007, early 2008.
Perfect. Okay. Now we have to adjust a little bit for your level of confidence, your level of like undercutting, underselling, overselling, et cetera, like, underpricing. When you built a website back then, think about the website that you built then and the website you could build now. Now, there's been a lot of technology change, so we're going to generalize here a lot. But would you say that like the perceived value of that website then versus the perceived value of the website now, on the whole, you think it's gone up or down? You think you building a beautiful, functional, amazing website in 2007, do you think if you had that same exact thing with a business owner from 2025, do you think that they're going to be more willing to pay higher dollar value now or higher value dollar later? And again, I know things have changed. I know the costs of actually building the shit has gone down. So maybe it's like a little bit, kind of in lockstep to some degree. But like, what is the reality there? And how has that become what it has become?
Well, I don't sell websites anymore.
Okay. Well, give me there's
that. But I mean, so tough question to answer. First website that I pitched under the studio, or the first one that I can remember, was a client from when I worked at the ISP where we were doing websites, and they sort of kind of followed me, but they were your typical worst customer ever. They were the worst customer when I was at the old business. They followed me because they called for me at the other business, and they were like, oh, Matt's not there anymore. Then they found me, and I pitched them. It was a $20,000 website, but it was a $20,000 website, which was, branding, logo, and all this stuff, custom design, logo, and, of course, the website. And they had a they had a very active bulletin board service that they use, PHP BB, and we were going to integrate that into WordPress. And it was just like a nightmare of a project. So if I were to look at that today and I was doing all that stuff, the number would probably go up in today's dollars for sure for all of that work, because it was a nightmare. But I was still selling $1,500. Like once we were like, oh shit, we don't have enough clients coming in. Yeah, like the number ranged from $1,500 to $2,500 even back then. The difference is like I said in the last episode, I was just burning all of that because I was paying guys. I mean, at the time they were kids, and they were students, and they were getting paid like $40 an hour, right? And now remember, this is 2008. They were learning while they were working for me. So consider it an internship at $40, $50 an hour. And I was just going through those. I mean, just going through the cache back then. So it's hard for me to like, answer that question. But you're trying to make a point. What's the point?
Well, I mean, just the point. I was also trying to calculate what the difference in dollars are worth now versus then, because obviously there's some level of difference there. My point was that my hypothesis was that you were selling websites to people then, and the idea of making websites was seen as a more specialized skill. Therefore, the value would be higher. Now, as we've gotten Wix ads every 5 seconds on television and YouTube and wherever, and as we're now getting into the next era where you don't even need Wix anymore. I'm simplifying the argument here a little bit, but like as soon as people continuously catch on to that, oh man, I could almost do this. It's all about this perception that I feel like. I don't know what's going to happen there, but it's like if back then people understood like this is a really highly technical thing, not a lot of people know how to do it, I guess I'm going to have to pay whatever people are charging me. I feel like only logically now and into the future that the perceived value would continue to go down in that one domain of that. Now that's not to like again, simultaneously right now it's like, oh, well, like I can produce like really cool like automations and AI and things like that. So like now is probably the time where that you could charge a good amount of money for that. I'm not trying to chase necessarily either. It probably sounds like that. I'm trying to analyze and be like, what could help my business the best internally that I could also like implement, but also help all these other businesses get ahead of their competition. You can't really sit here and tell me that even if AI like died tomorrow, like the adoption wave of AI, assuming that the shit still works, you can't really tell me that like any business owner that we would educate or provide service to in that area, in that domain, like wouldn't benefit from that. And you also can't tell me that like every single person that is like a business owner and categorize themselves as somebody like wants to like learn or wants to get better or wants to make more money, if they don't know about the stuff that's going on right now, like even just educating them on that is like unbelievably valuable. So again, I'm kind of in this crossroads of like, what do I actually educate and service people on? But I'm just really intrigued by like where we're at right now. I do not think it's hyped. It's overhyped in maybe certain pieces of it, but I actually think it's at minimum probably appropriately hyped because I think it's just absolutely, it's changed the way that I literally live and I behave because I don't Google anything anymore really. Like
it's okay, but that's one use case, right? I do want to wrap up because I'm old and I have to pee. In what areas of your business today are you using AI? And I'll just rip off what I'm doing. So obviously transcripts for my podcast.
Yep.
Editing with Descript is air quotes powered by AI. When I edited this last video that you and I did, I had AI chop it down to like 45 minutes. I had AI help make that intro, that I made. I use a host of what I'll call like vanilla LLMs, ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, to work out ideas for me, to write podcast summaries for me, which I still edit. I use obviously Replit and Cursor for coding, right? I use ChatGPT in place of Google search. But when I look at it as a whole, and this is just, I'm not saying this is where it stops, but I look at my productivity. Okay, so maybe I'm 30% more productive. I wouldn't even push it that far. Maybe I'm 20% more productive now with these tools. And I don't see it jumping to 90% in even 5 years. Like I don't see like myself being like everyone talks about like, oh, company of one. There'll be one company of one, some person who like a $1 trillion company of one or $1 billion company of one, like whatever the phrase is that you see passed around. Yeah, it'll happen to maybe one or two people. It'll be in the financial sector. It'll be in some like medical research sector and be like, look, this guy made $1 billion. Yeah, but he was also like a data scientist before he did it, right? It wasn't some schmuck, Mark Szymanski, who now made $1 billion, doing day trading because he coded up a script with Replit, right? It's not going to be as easy as that. Will it happen? Sure. Will it be a unicorn? Absolutely. So at the end of the day, like I still wrestle constantly with AI. So it's still not like for all these iterations of like, look what this Google Veo can do now. Make all these videos. It can do all this stuff. Look at this, look at, I don't know, all these stupid things. It's all like parlor trick stuff that I don't see it really hitting the end user. Canva AI. What a piece of trash. Piece of trash. Right? And they make me pay for it now. They make my prices go up because they have Canva AI. Make a YouTube video using my face. What a piece of trash that it produces. Like, what are we doing with this stuff? So anyway, the point is like 20%, 25% more productive at the high end with what I'm doing right now. And I don't think you can just look at 5 years and go, 5 years is going to be 80%. Like, I don't think it's moving that fast. That's my prediction. How much AI do you use in your business right now?
Similar stuff. I want to use even more. I mean, I don't write any titles really. Well, I mean, again, this is the problem. Anything writing, I mean, I have a constant, like, weird ethical dilemma. It's like, should I be writing stuff? Can I write stuff in first person with AI? It's like very weird, so I want to and I'm just going to lean into it because there's no reason not to, because I'm not going to write the shit. It's better AI writes it and I edit it or whatever. But like titles, chapters, descriptions, transcripts, what have you, audio editing, video editing, I need to like dive more into, because that's the other thing too. Is like I'm actually stopping myself dead in my tracks. I'm like, why am I thinking about hiring a person to edit my videos before I have exhausted all AI options? Like, that is the stupidest fucking thing that I could have possibly came across. Why am I considering that at all? Especially with my current mindset. Now, it may be that it is absolutely possible that in 2025 right now that this is the thing, right? There's some sort of equation, I'm sure, I don't know it. How much quality, subjective quality, are you willing to lose? Are you willing to give up for the speed, the convenience, and the effectiveness that AI would bring, like in that thing, like, right? So let's assume that you find like a really good, video editor, and there's like a bunch of like, potential back and forth pain, stuff like that you have to deal with. Like, how much are you willing to bring the quality down while speeding up the whole process, making it cheaper or whatever, when you know that the quality is just going to slowly continue to rise?
All right, but that doesn't mean you do nothing.
What does that mean? What do you mean by nothing?
I feel like you're just like, you have these moments of like paralysis where you're like, I can't even make the decision.
Oh
now.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's the whole problem. That's
right.
That's the whole problem.
1 hour and 18 minutes in, like
we're in the agreement.
This is what
there.
I'm getting at. Is you
all
gotta
I'm saying
do something.
I gotta pick a way to go. And
yeah.
I'm gonna pick into the AI way. But yeah, that's what I mean is like, I can't see a reason to not pick the AI way and then at least exhaust all those options. I'm not exactly sure why I have such a sharp level of confidence, high level of confidence for this all happening. But I feel like it is absolutely going to happen. Like, there's just going to be so much more that you can do. Not everyone is going to adopt it, but everyone that does is just going to get quite far ahead, as long as they remain like ethical. I don't want to sacrifice like, again, like ethical reputation for a lot of these things. I just want to be able to do more quicker.
Yeah, I mean, I know people that are like, I don't need to hire any marketing people anymore. We're just going to write all the content with AI. And okay, but I still, it's like, I still have the same. If you're saying I'm just going to write stuff with AI, then I'm going to say, like, where is that coming up? Like, where is that content showing up? Well, it's going to show up when you search with ChatGPT or Grok. Well, I thought the point of AI was that it's going to get smart and not even need this content anymore. So it's going to learn, so I'm told, to say, like, Mark's the web guy and PPC guy in Pittsburgh area. So when I ask that question, it's going to show me Mark as the guy who does that, right? Like, that's the utopian future we're supposed to be headed to. Then why even bother doing lifeless ChatGPT written content as your marketing solution? Your marketing solution should be as human as possible when I see these arguments, so that when somebody's like, they're still going to send you to a website to contact Mark and learn more about Mark. And if you say ChatGPT will also surface that information as well, then what's it going to present to the user? It's going to probably present a video or some photos of Mark. So you're still having to surface the human side of marketing. And it's just this wheel that I think everyone's just looking at when they go, yeah, it don't matter anymore. Words don't matter. Just put out whatever. Just let ChatGPT do it. But the customer is still going to end up making the choice by experiencing you. And that's what I can't wrap my head around, that people just think they can just outsource that stuff.
I mean, I'll keep it brief so we can wrap up. We're literally at this point having a discussion about dystopia. Are we going to end in a dystopia, or are we not going to end in a dystopia? That's pretty much what we're asking at this point. It's like, is everyone not going to give a fuck about human to human connection? Or is that always going to be the thing, the beacon that keeps us from getting to that point? And I'm actually not really confident that we don't. I'm definitely pretty black-pilled on that, pretty pessimistic, that I think that we will have a segment of people that end up not getting there. Because I think even before AI, we've gotten to the place now where people are, I know this is too heavy, but like, we've already gotten to the place now where people just like are kind of like sad, whatever, XYZ. As soon as AI gets to the point where they can have a friend, which it's almost pretty much already there, they can have a chatbot, and then they can have a real life person, like a bot or something that can be their type of like almost like friend in that regard. I really do think that's going to be like the next level of like, okay, this is actually kind of crazy, because now the whole human element has been capsulized in this being that as long as you don't remember that it's a bot, it's going to be like a human.
Okay, but I'm talking about business. I'm talking about your business and clients. So
well, even I was talking about the world, which is like larger than business. And
yes, but this is why you're paralyzed right now, because you keep thinking about this like virtual human that you'll have. But that virtual human, if you said, "Hey man, I need to hire somebody in the Pittsburgh area to help build my website and PPC campaign," the person's going to go.
It would tell you. It would just It is the expert. It would just tell you how to do it. I haven't seen any real mention, unless you ask it about a specific person. If you ask the stuff about a topic, it barely even cites its sources sometimes. It just tells you the information that it has.
And don't you see that as problematic?
Well, fuck, how long do you have? How much more do you want to talk about this? Like that is like a problem if you're, again, living in the last 20 years, because it's different than how it was. But that's how the fucking thing is designed right now. So I don't know really what to tell you, unless you go knock on OpenAI's door and tell them to change it. That is a completely different discussion. I'm actually kind of feel like I'm more pragmatic in some ways in this conversation, because I'm trying to see where these people are moving the thing, and then work within some of those confines while also still being like a thought leader to the other pieces of it. Yeah. If you say that, that's like, okay, we need to pick up the pitchforks and we need to say, no, we're going to stop this right now. Which again, admirable, but I don't know how to do that. Like, I don't know what the plan is there.
Right. I just think that eventually, like, these things aren't. We're too early on in the process where these things are not realized yet. Right. Like, there's not enough human impact on it yet. everyone's fascinated by it. But I just think that as humans progress, you start to get, if it's all the same experience, then the experience, the one who stands out, that experience that stands out is where people start to pay attention. And fine, for the next 10 years, it's all like ChatGPT, surface results, pulling in from SEO data, whatever. And you just want your search result, there it goes. But I think that eventually, like, those who stand out are the ones that win. And that might be Mark Zemansky now visits your house and sets up the website with you in your living room, because that's what you need to do in order to win. That person from just going to ChatGPT and say, hey, ChatGPT, build me a website, or just do it for me, or whatever. I don't know. Like, it's, at the end of the day, what we were trying to achieve here is to get you to go get out of that like overwhelm period and actually like do something.
Can we wrap it up? Can we wrap it up with my takeaway?
Go ahead.
With my takeaway. Here's my takeaway.
MJS.bio.
MJS.bio. My takeaway is that there have been seasons of my life, notable seasons, personal finance, business, marketing, golf content, like web design, WordPress specifically. We're in the next season. The next season is figure out this other stuff, like where I think it's going. And that's it. Now, it doesn't mean I'm not going to still do the other stuff, but I really do think that that's pretty much the answer, because I just can't physically do it. And there's been a disconnect because I'm like a part of the community. I'm not leaving the community, but like at the same time, it's like I feel like I can't. I feel like it's a growth issue. I feel like I don't feel like I'm growing, and if I don't go find the things and look and get interested in the things and learn on the things that I want to do, I just feel like paralyzed. So that's my thought. I don't know. This guy doesn't agree with anything I said.
This has gone off the fucking rails. I don't even know if I should publish it, but I'm gonna, because any content is good content. MJS.bio, thewpminute.com. Thanks for watching. Check it out. Check out the WP Minute on YouTube. You're watching this on WP Minute Podcasts. Thanks, everybody.